Three, two, one. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the PopHeadz podcast. This is episode 1 with your host, Eric, aka Ghostwriter. Now, I want to preface this by saying, if you're listening, you probably know that PopHeadz is an NFT project. The goal of this podcast production is to give listeners an inside look into the conversations, ideas, challenges, and everything else that goes with making an NFT project. Now, the blockchain, technology, market forces, community building, etc., like all of those things will be included. I'm personally a big fan of podcasts, and one that I admire was from several years ago by Gimlet Media, now owned by Spotify. It was a podcast titled Startup, and in it we got to hear how Gimlet Media became and launched as a media startup. I do not personally have the years of experience doing radio like they did on NPR, so the first few episodes may seem rough. In fact, I'm recording this at my dining table at 12:30 a.m. eating some leftover Domino's pizza. My hope is to improve the level of production over time, but just know this is candid and this is fairly raw. I do hope to bring the other team members for interview so you can hear their voices, but for the first episode, I just wanted to do a monologue to give you the full background of PopHeadz. Now, PopHeadz is an NFT project started by 5 core team members. We have 3 artists, Daniel Chang, or DanDraws98, Joyce Liu, and Tony Holes. And on dev, project, marketing, community management, pretty much everything else, we have Ja Chang and me. But really, what is the story behind how, the PopHeadz team got together? I think it's interesting to give background on that for anyone who wants to listen. This isn't just some fly-by-night operation. I think it's important to hear the story of how this all began, because it's a fairly interesting one, I think. The story begins with Joyce, actually, not even Daniel. Now, Joyce is a professional artist and had wanted to dabble into NFTs, but she first started on Ethereum, on the Super Rare platform. She didn't receive much traction at first, so she did networking and made friends with a few people from NFT Asia, Shafika and Duke Plus One, who appear later in the story, as well as Catherine, who is one of the co-founders of Form Function, an art marketplace on Solana. Now, Joyce decides to try selling art on Solana, and she kind of pops off, I'm not gonna lie, because her 2D animation and 3D sculpture art style is very clearly unique. Now, at that time, which was several months ago, I want to say 3-ish months ago, the meta, or standard for one artist, was to do some of their own branding and marketing. Part of this included making your own Discord, so that is exactly what Joyce did. There is a Joyce Noodle Shop Discord that still exists to this day. Now, this is where yours truly enters the picture. I'm not personally an artist, but more of a collector of NFTs, and I bid on Joyce's initial drops on Form Function. I did not win any of them, as they went past my budget, but it did get me an invite into Joyce's Discord for participation raffle. During that time, we talk and become friends, as well as a couple other artists who were part of that specific cohort to join Solana 1 of 1 art, specifically Duke Plus One and Lawrence Anthony. Now, I want to say several weeks after Joyce's initial auction, Duke does his auction and sets up his own Discord called Duke's Pizza. Again, I try to bid and lose, but it gets me an invite to Duke's Discord, where there is a raffle for our participation NFT. Now, here's where the magic and serendipity happens. The 4 of us are in Duke's Discord, me, Joyce, Duke, and Lawrence, and we begin discussing what it would be like if we had a shared artist Discord rather than each artist having their own individual ones. One thing leads to another, and the art community, known as The Kitchen, is created. The Kitchen is an art community that does just that. Some artists have set up a permanent channel instead of their own Discord, and we have rotating channels to feature other artists as well. Now, when we publicly announced the opening of the kitchen, one of Joyce's longtime followers on Instagram comes in as well. And lo and behold, Daniel enters the picture. We begin to socialize and talk in the kitchen, and we help him do his first auction and foray into NFTs. I, of course, am talking about PopHeadz now. Not as the 10K generative collection that we have planned, but the original one-of-one art auctions. The Genesis drop included wolf, rabbit, falcon, and tiger, which is important to the story. Now, I personally bid during this auction, but again, didn't win anything. I think we see a similar vein that I take too many L's. But someone had been lurking at the same time, which was Jia Cheng. At the time, Jia Cheng was mostly focused on exploring farm function and marketplaces, and buying some art here and there, which leads him into the kitchen. On the day of Daniel's auction, he bids on Tiger, because he has some spiritual connections with it being, he was born in the year of the tiger. And anyways, Jia Cheng ends up literally outbidding Joyce's boss for the tiger head. And ever since winning, became a Daniel maxi, encouraging Daniel to explore expanding the project and to think bigger. You may ask, how does Tony fit into this narrative? Well, Tony was part of the form function cohort that included Joyce, Duke, and Lawrence. And in fact, Tony is a freelancer now, but he used to be Joyce's coworker. So fundamentally, what I'm trying to get across here is PopHeadz was a seed that had probably existed in Daniel's head for a while, at least maybe unconsciously. But it was these little serendipitous meetings and conversations that led to the team coming together. And to be honest, Joyce was the glue or the web of fate, if you could even call it that. Anyways, literal months go by, and PopHeadz, has its second auction, goes even better than the first, and individually, actually, there's a couple conversations that go on about how PopHeadz could be a brand or continue expanding, as cliche as that sounds. And nothing happens, actually, for a while. Until OK Bears. I don't want to throw shade at any project, but the conversations we were having was around, I think PopHeadz and what we could bring, being incredibly talented artists, I'm not including myself here, but having incredibly talented artists and taking PopHeadz to the next level, we could bring a fresh take on PFP and brand meta, which is why at that point we create the team to turn PopHeadz from a one-of-one auction collection into a full 10K collection. I don't want to say we were piggybacking off of this quote-unquote branding meta. Technically, we've had conversations about this since after the first auction, which has been months ago. But I think seeing other projects do it, we thought we could bring, a fresh take. And I believe that the only thing that our project benefited from in terms of brand meta was timing more than anything. When we made the announcement, obviously brand meta was still hot, and so when we made the announcement about turning the collection into a full 10K, we got very positive, very instantaneous feedback and response. Now I want to say that as of this recording, we are still incredibly far away, months from mint date, and we aren't trying to capitalize on the brand meta that OK Bear started. More than anything, I think we use that as a jumping off point to start. Again, months away is like 10 years in crypto, right? A day sometimes feels like a year. So things can change, but we're using PopHeadz and our goal of becoming a bigger brand as the jumping off point. That brings us to now. We had one more final auction, which goes absolutely ballistic, and we now have the arduous task of delivering. I want to thank everybody who listened and are part of PopHeadz now. We are learning we're building, we're arting, but most importantly, we're excited that you're part of this journey with us. And that's it. That is kind of the history of how the PopHeadz team got together and where we're at now. I hope to have some time with the other team members for interviews and to be able to share a recorded audio of conversations we're having. In the meantime, these last couple weeks since we announced the project have been incredibly fun, exciting, and sometimes a little weird, to be honest with you. Just the other day, I officiated a Nigerian wedding in the Discord. I have recorded the audio for your listening pleasure, or displeasure. I don't know. The quality is a bit scuffed, to be honest with you. It's in its raw form, but the vibes are immaculate. So please enjoy it, and I will see you next time.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join Alex, who's on his cell phone, and EK or IK in holy matrimony. IK, do you take Alex to be your wait, who's the husband and who's the wife? Or is it two husbands or two wives?
I'm the husband.
Okay. Sorry, let me start over. Okay, EK, do you take Alex to be your husband, to live together in holy matrimony, to love him, to honor him, to comfort him, and to get whitelist with him for as long as you both shall be in the Discord?
Yeah, I do.
And Alex, do you take EK to be your wife, to live together, to love her, to honor her, to comfort her, and to get whitelist with her for as long as you shall both stay in the Discord?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you starting with Alex, can you say your vow, your wedding vow to EK?
EK, I, Alex, I vow
Oh,
to be a loving man, to care and to
wow.
protect you, and to provide for you in the best of my capacity.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
And EK, can you say your vow to Alex?
Okay, I say the take Alex as my lovely wedding and hopefully going to make you the happiest man that you
Well, I could not hear the vow, but I felt the emotion.
Okay.
If there is any amongst you in the Discord call right now that wishes to object to this union, please let it be known.
Congratulations, guys.
That's not objection. But thank you.
Let me think about this. Let me think.
No, that you can't object if you have to think about it. That's not an objection. Okay.
Sometimes
Since
you
I
need to
hear no objections.
sometimes you need to
Since I hear
consider the gravity of the objection.
no,
Oh my
there's
gosh,
nothing.
you guys, no, please.
There's no gravity here.
Yeah.
We're on the moon. There's no gravity because we're on the
is
moon.
IK sure? Is IK sure that Alex is the man for her? Has she
She
looked
said the
around?
vow.
But
She
she
said the
said it.
vow
But
that I couldn't hear the vow, but she said it.
did she mean it? Did she mean it, or did she just
Probably
say
not.
it?
Probably for whitelist, but you know what? I'll accept it.
Okay.
By
They have
virtue.
my blessing.
Okay. By virtue of the authority vested in me, by being a mod and team member, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may now get the whitelist. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.